Hey, have you ever wanted to see inside of an 8-figure Amazon business? Well, in this series, we're going to be peeling back our numbers, showing you our exact revenue, cost, wins, and mistakes that we made in our $10 million Amazon brand. Hey, my name's Nate Slamans. I'm one of the co-founders of Amazing Freedom. We have a portfolio of brands that does $15 million in sales. I have nothing to sell you in this video. Instead, we're going to be looking at our exact numbers from December 2021 as part of this $10 million challenge, where every single month this year, we're going to be peeling back our numbers and showing you what's happening inside our brand as we aim for the 8-figure mark in 2022. All right, so as we get into this, I'm not going to hit every single detail in the article that you can read, but I'm going to talk about the highlights of this $10 million challenge and what our numbers looked like for December of 2021. Okay, so as we get into this, first off, why are we doing the $10 million challenge? Well, we've realized that going from $0 to $1 million in sales on Amazon looks a lot different than going from 1 million to 10 million, or from the 7 to 8-figure mark. So in this series, we want to cover both of those aspects. I want to talk about what it looks like getting to your first $1 million brand and then going to that $10 million mark. And if you're looking to do one of those things, hopefully you'll find some real good value here. So let's look at our December 2021 stats, what we ended the month with. So we actually ended on Amazon just short of 470,000. On Shopify, we did about 12% of our total revenue there, so those numbers aren't shown here. We're mostly focused on Amazon. We're definitely an Amazon-first brand. My partner and I, Andy and I, have been selling on Amazon for over 8 years, and Shopify is just a lot newer to us. So we've had a lot of success on Shopify, and we actually had several months last year of doing over $200,000 of sales on Shopify. But when in the second half of the year, we actually got hit by some of the iOS changes that changed Facebook and Google Ads, and we personally just didn't keep up with it in the brand, and we did see our sales suffer in the second half of the year. So we're looking to turn that around as we learn more about driving traffic profitably and conversions on Shopify. We'll look to share that. Still a major part of what we're going to need to do to be successful with the brand this year and going forward, but it's just not our forte typically. And what we're focused on, Amazon is where we see most of our success coming through. But again, we're constantly shifting and looking to do whatever is going to be best for the brand overall. So we ended the month with 470,000 in sales. One thing we were excited about was that we were able to decrease our ACoS and our total ACoS, or tacos, by over 2% each in December versus November. And so if we pull up the total sales of the year of 2021, you'll see that we started January strong with almost $1 million in sales, and then saw a pretty steady March from there forward for each month, and kind of peaked in August for our revenue. And then we saw a decline from there to the end of the year. So there was a couple reasons for that. Number one, our brand does have quite a bit of seasonality to it. So unlike most brands that are seeing really, really strong November and Decembers, those are some of our weaker months typically. And that's why you'll see that we did pretty poor compared to the rest of the months there. Another reason is we were not immune to the supply chain crisis of 2021. And so we had a couple key ASINs that were out of stock in November and December, which did hurt us pretty bad there. And then number three, we saw our margins thin out in the second half of 2021. I think a lot of sellers did for a couple reasons. Number one, almost everybody I know personally had their ACoS or their advertising PPC expenses creep up through the year. So we also saw that, our PPC going up. And then the supply chain increased costs of shipping, where we personally saw our containers go from about $5,000 a container earlier in the year to $15,000 to $20,000 for several containers, really hurt our margins as well, which started to play out in the second half of the year. If you're using like a FIFO inventory basis, you start to see that kind of creep in over time. And we saw that. And so towards the end of the year, we told ourselves, hey, we need to focus on profitable sales, not just total revenue vanity metrics. And so we purposely slowed down some sales in order to decrease our ACOS and tacos and increase our margins. And so some of that kind of all went together to make November and December less than what we were hoping for, but we think it's going to set us up for a better 2022 overall. So a couple of big tips, takeaways that we had for December of 2021 is tip number one, to use bulk operations. So we personally use bulk operations to check for bleeders, and I'll talk about that in another minute, at least twice a week. So when it comes to PPC, use bulk operations. This will help you see a quick overview of your PPC, and it's really easy to see your bleeders in one file. So instead of just managing it all in Seller Central or even some softwares out there, if you use bulk operations, it can make it easier to identify those keywords or those campaigns that are bleeding, just losing money and not providing you a whole lot of value. Tip number two, takeaway from December 2021 is to set up a PPC calendar. So personally in our brand, we're handling over 100 ASINs. And so our Amazon brand manager and PPC manager is constantly looking with our team at just a lot of campaigns. I think we maxed out the portfolio at one point and had to kind of consolidate some of those. And so your spend is going to get hectic. It's going to be hard to manage it. And so we found that setting up a calendar was really the way to systematize it and make it a lot more organized. So something to think about when you're focusing, and again, this is a problem typically when you're going from 7 to 8 figures, is how to focus on your PPC campaigns. And so we like to, if there's more traffic to a campaign, we like to optimize it more. And if there's less traffic, you can probably let it ride a little bit longer. You can add all PPC related items. So kind of do your bulk operations and anything that's related, you can check those together. And then make it a checklist. So this is super simple, but just like an airline pilot, instead of just kind of going in and glancing at your PPC randomly at different times of the day or the week and kind of just observing everything, have a checklist and just go through that every day and make sure that you're hitting your 10 or your 15 or your 20 point checklist when it comes to PPC. And then tip number 3 is proper cross-selling and upselling strategies. And so I want to talk about this because one of the things we're really excited about what we did in 2021 is that we actually launched over 50 brand new ASINs onto Amazon for this brand. And so 50 is a lot, and most of those actually occurred during a 3 to 4 month period, which was just a very insane time of our business from about February to May time period that we launched a ton of these ASINs. However, not every single one of these ASINs was a unique product by any means. So there was a number of families and parent-child variations that went into this ASIN launch, and that made it easier. And the way that we came up with that is through our cross-selling up vertical and horizontal integration strategy. So basically, we looked at products that were already frequently bought together with our existing hero SKUs or best-selling products, and that helped to spark the next products that we were going to go after. And so it wasn't an exact science where we took exactly what was bought together with our products, but we used that to come up with the strategy of new products that we were going to launch, and it worked out for us really, really well. So in our past experience, if you're launching new products and you can have anywhere from a 20 to 30 to 40% success rate on product launches, that's actually usually pretty good. I know 20, 30% doesn't sound great, but if you think about it in a baseball analogy, a 20 or a 30% success rate on bat is actually really good, right? And so it's pretty similar in our experience when it comes to brand building on Amazon. If you can get 20, 30, 40% of your products to be successful and keep selling long-term, that's a win. However, with these products that we launched in 2021, these 50 new ASINs, we actually found that 80% of them were profitable and we're still going to be selling in 2022. And that got us really, really excited. So one of the things that we did wrong in Q3, Q4 of 2021 is that out of those 50 ASINs that we launched, and again, really excited about that, one downside of launching that many ASINs was that we didn't have the historical data in our pocket to really analyze what those sales were going to do like through the entire year. And so we overestimated our sales heading into Q4, and we just got too much inventory at Amazon FBA when the storage costs are 3 to 4 times whatever it is, storage costs compared to the rest of the year. And that kind of hurt us. So we did have too much inventory of our new SKUs at Amazon, and we're going to avoid making that mistake this upcoming 2022. Q3, Q4 when we have more experience under our belt and we have better data to make those decisions. But that did hurt our storage costs and our margins a little bit for this past year. Now, a couple things that we did right in 2021 that we're really excited about heading into this year was setting up our systems better. We did much better KPI tracking. And so that's really important as you grow and as you do have dozens, if not 100 plus ASINs or SKUs that you're managing. You really have to have really good KPI tracking. So we talk about this here. We've developed a comprehensive conversion tracker that shows us our sessions, our conversions, our ACOS, our tacos, our profits, our margins. We have that all in one place. We just use spreadsheets for this most of the time, but we have dedicated managers that are looking at these numbers and that we're meeting on and discussing every single week. We have a troubled products tracker. So ASINs that are losing money or bleeding over time, we're kind of identifying those in crisis mode. And we're specifically looking at those every single week to see if we need to make any pricing decisions or reorder decisions or whatever it means for those specific products that are losing money or definitely not doing well. That's our trouble products tracker. And then we have a forecast and sales tracker. And this is one of our longest trackers, and we try to be as comprehensive as possible with it. And every single week we meet and we see at a SKU level how things are selling, if we need to change our forecasting based on those sales. And I highly encourage you to track your revenue and your individual ASINs every single week if you're not doing that already. And then another really big win for 2021 was our cross-selling strategy. So if you look at this chart, you can actually see some really cool information about some promo codes and cross-selling products that we did. So we'll cross-sell products in images together through promo codes. And so we had some products here where we had the number of promo purchases was 225. The success rate or the conversion of those promos was 12%, which is actually really high. So 12% people went, when they bought the ASIN number 1, they added ASIN number 2 to cart as the promo 12% of the time, which it resulted in a absolute revenue increase of over $4,000. So in some ways, that's probably $4,000 that we would not have gotten otherwise. And you can see here actually that our tacos on those products purchase is actually 4%. So not just a cost, but a tacos of 4% is good overall. To us, that's a really big deal and extra revenue just added to our pocket. And so another really cool stat is in the second and third quarter, we had over 2,000 redemptions of promotions. And we actually expect that number to be much higher in 2022. So we're really bullish on the cross-selling promotion redemption strategy of increasing new products via your existing best-selling products that you have on Amazon. Okay, so as we head into 2022 and we are on the mission to get to the $10 million sales mark, here's some of the main things that we're keeping an eye on. All right, so number one, we definitely think that there's going to be some major challenges in 2022 due to inflation, shipping costs still being high, and margins being squeezed for brands that aren't careful. And we've seen that, and we're doing everything we can to get back to what we feel like is a really healthy margin level. So that's our focus for the first quarter as we head into 2022, is getting back to the profit margins that we are most comfortable with, that we think is going to set us up for long-term success. And we're really just trying to reduce our PPC costs for unnecessary costs and see any other way that we can increase our margins. One of the best ways to do that is to really take a good analysis of your pricing. And now I know it's hard because you can't just increase your prices and not see a decrease in revenue typically. And so the way that we think brands are going to be able to counteract this is to really focus on the branding side of things versus just selling widgets or being an Amazon seller. So we're doing everything we can to increase our brand perception and brand presence in 2022. We're really doing a better job at our branding on our packaging, on our images, on our listings, on our off Amazon sales. So as part of our acquisition flow, where we try to get customers from Amazon to Shopify and be able to cross-sell them and upsell them with marketing material more afterwards. And so these are some of the keys that we're going to be seeing as we head into 2022. So this was the December update, not officially part of our $10 million challenge because it is last year, but I think it's going to really set us up for what we saw last year and what we're seeing as we head into 2022. Things are looking promising already as we start this year, but already we're seeing some difficulties that always happen as a business owner, as a e-commerce seller, specifically as an Amazon seller, and I'll be covering those in the next monthly update of the $10 million challenge. Hey, again, my name is Nate Slamans. We own a portfolio of brands that does $15 million in sales. A lot of people fail when it comes to selling on Amazon and selling online, and we don't want you to be one of them. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment if you would. And I want to know, what do you want to see as part of the next video in this $10 million challenge? Is there a specific number that you look at in your brand and you're curious to see how it matches with ours? Looking for feedback where we can open up some of our back end numbers and really bring those out. So let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video where I talk about the January 2022 update of the $10 million challenge.